Hey, Patrice Washington here from the Redefining Wealth podcast, back in the prayer closet, getting some downloads, getting some revelation, and I just needed to share this with someone. So earlier this week, I posted a video about being in the middle, and it was inspired by my Todd's message in the middle from Resurrection Sunday or Easter Sunday, you may say. Okay, so I was thinking though, about that other side, right? That resurrection side. And I don't know if we always make the correlation, but here's my thought. And my husband helped articulate this morning before I even came in here. But now I really see it. So when you get to the other side, you may have heard Psalm 23. And it talks about, you'll prepare a table before my enemies, right? Well, the table being prepared before your enemies does not really come until, I believe, you've made it through the valley of the shadow of death. Like you've got to the other side. And now God is preparing this table. And when you think about preparing the table, he's, think of Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner or something where you're putting out the plates, putting out the napkins, putting out the silverware, you're decorating. Like you're putting out the food one by one. Like this is a process. Even though like you're there, it's a process. And I was telling my husband, I can't understand why enemies just don't go away. Like go on somewhere, Like I'm not one of those people who go searching for things, but I tend to be one of those people who gets sought out. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Right. And it's one of the reasons that I started to say on the podcast and when I'm speaking that there are people who will be annoyed by your anointing and you haven't even done anything to them. Right. The aggressors have the audacity to want to pretend to be the victims. Like they create scenarios, they try to create hostile situations, and you're like, man, go on somewhere. Right. And I was like, how come they have the audacity to try to block me, right? Because I'm like, who? What are you talking about? So I go search for the situation in particular. They block me, but I keep hearing that they're clearly, all of their content is about me. And I'm like, that's not fair. How come I can't block them? And Psalm 23 comes. My husband says it this morning, and then I read Psalm 23 today, and it just makes so much sense. How can the Lord prepare a table in front of your enemies if they're not there? Right? We get so consumed with like, oh, I need to block people. I need to stop them. But what if you just need to let them see? What if you need to let them see you shining your light in spite of? What if you need to let them see how God is blessing you? And not for the sake of making them more angry, because I don't think it's the people. I think it's the spirit, right? Not that, because I do believe in praying for enemies, and I do. I really do. And my prayer is, man, maybe if she sees me living in my purpose, she'll finally go get a purpose of her own. Instead of trying to do what I do and be who I am and serve how I serve. Right? Like, and I don't know what that is for you, but I'm saying many of us hide out. I remember a time when I wouldn't post, when I wouldn't share. I went through a season of being harassed online, so I wouldn't say anything. And really, that didn't honor God, right? Like, my job is to give God something to bless. Like, my job is to put things out there in the world that will be a blessing to people. And when you let your enemies intimidate you, right, then you're not on your job. You're not giving God something to bless. And God is saying, bump them. I'm doing a new thing. You're at the end of this middle that you had, right? Like you are getting to this other side. It's time for me to prepare the table. Why are you so worried about shielding them from seeing what I'm doing? You need to just be concerned about what I'm doing. I hope that makes sense. Like, it makes so much sense to me as I was thinking about it. But, when I work with people, so many of us, our stories come from places of pain. They come from places of shame. A lot of our stories come from things that are quite frankly embarrassing. And the reason that we don't share the middle, and the reason that we don't share any of it, quite frankly, is because we're afraid of how our enemies will weaponize those stories against us. But the truth is, God is using those stories to elevate us. Like, God is going to use those stories because, again, like I said in the other video, when we share the story, we allow that testimony to shine. We allow God to get the glory because we can share how he brought us through. And so if you've been ashamed of your story, if your story has been weaponized against you, if you've been embarrassed of your story, if you're guilty, and I don't care what the story is, I don't care if, it has to do with abuse of some kind, emotional, verbal, sexual, physical abuse of some kind. I know it's difficult. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying there's power on the other side, and God will prepare the table before your enemies, because you have to understand, they thought that they were going to take you out. They thought that their actions were enough to have you in a corner bawling and sucking your thumb for the rest of your life. They thought that you would never amount to be, I guess, anything based on what they believe they know about you. But the truth is, they don't really know you. And they really don't know the relationship you have with God. And they really don't know, right? Because most people were hating on you from outside the club. Or should we say outside the church? Right? They don't really know you. And whether it's abuse, whether it's infidelity, I've been there. Whether it's child loss, I've been there. Whether it's losing all your money, I've been there. Whether it's filing bankruptcy, been there. When I told you the other day that I have so many Saturdays, right? The resurrection was on Sunday morning. The death was on Friday night. But what happened on Saturday? I have so many Saturdays. And here's what I'm committed to. The reason I don't always tell all my middle is because it doesn't just impact me. There's other people involved. So out of respect, until I'm released, because baby, I can't wait. I don't say everything, not because I'm ashamed, not because I'm scared, not because I'm embarrassed, because the Lord has already been preparing and is preparing tables before my enemies. So it's not that, but you have to wait for other people to come into their awareness or understanding of that. But I said all that to say, don't worry about blocking people. Don't worry about them seeing you share. Don't worry about them, what they're going to say about your book, or what are they going to say about your this or your that. Don't worry about any of that. You got to keep moving forward because God has called you to keep moving forward. He got the table. He's got the table. He's ready to lay it out for you. He's ready for you to feast, but you got to keep showing up. And it has to be, you have to be more committed to showing up and giving God the glory than you are attached to what people say about you and how they feel about you. That is not your business. That is not your business. It will never be your business. And if you are trying to do damage control and control what every person thinks about you, you're going to be tired. That's a different type of tired. You can't worry about that. You got to keep moving forward and give God something to bless. So as I always say, I hope that helps somebody, because I literally, you guys, when I do these videos and I feel led, I'm like, Lord, if it helps one person, then I'm good. The 99 that have a problem with it, that ain't my problem. The one who it helps, you're who I'm here for. So God bless you. Have a good day.